Welcome to the shop. I've got the FMS PA-18 Super Cub. This is the 1.7 version, and it is a big STOL tail dragging son of a gun. It's a really solid plane, big old tires, has all the features, slow flight, aerobatics, all the cool stuff that we all like, but there's trade-offs in life. Not everything can be perfect. And that's the case here with this plane. There is a caveat on who is this plane for, and I'll get into that a little bit later. But first, I want to cover what I always do. Brief unboxing. We're going to assemble it. I'm going to go through mods that I did during the assembly. My setup, on how I have it set up. We're going to go over the maiden flight, then fun flight, and just kind of push it a little bit, come back into the shop and summarize. So stick around, let's get into it. We've got the FMS Super Cub. This is the 1.7 meter plane, big plane. This is the RTF version. Got two halves here. Okie dokie, let's take a look at the wings. We've got a great big wing. Looks good. Plastic hinges, but I do like the way they insert those in there, so when you need to take them out, you can if you want. Ball links, foam hinges, got lights, a lot of hard points for the wing struts. That looks good. We've got a couple spars, sure, tail, wing. Oh, the other part I like, quick connects for the wing. Hopefully you can see that. All right, got a prop. This is a, what is it, a 12 by 7.5 tail. We have all the struts. It'll be interesting to see how this goes together, how easy it comes apart and travels. As I said, this is a ready to fly, so it comes with the FlySky transmitter. All right, let's see. We've got, as far as some of the other pieces of parts here, we have probably a battery charger, FMS battery charger, half of a fuselage. They now put the fuselage into two separate parts. All right, so in here we've got a receiver. It's already plugged in. We'll have to take a look at all of that. This is kind of a wire mess, but the other half of the tail, and it's a screw together configuration, no gluing. Nice big thick carbon fiber spar. Got the cables right in there. That'll run through. Got a plug for the charger. A 2700 milliamp 4S battery. Okay. Springs, parts for the landing gear, push rods, screws for assembly, bind plug, parts for the transmitter, and a spinner. Hey, one part I did forget. I was picking up the box, I'm like, boy, that box is heavy. Yeah, well, that's because there's a big, huge landing gear in it with monster tires. Holy cow. This is all the hardware. So quite a few screws that we'll have to deal with. That might require looking at the documentation a little. So, all right. This big bundle of wires shoved into this place, in there. Carefully, Will. All right, those wires, best thing to do is, in this particular case, I'm going to slide them onto this little bit of wire, and pull them through. The easiest way to do this. Pull them all the way through. Now, got on the other end, we'll just keep pulling it, make sure they don't get caught in that, and then voila, we're all set. And then we're going to use 2 of these little 10mm screws. Hopefully everything lines up good. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Let's see. Okay, fuselage is complete. Pretty narrow fuselage for what it is, but I guess that's because it is a Cub, Super Cub that is. All right, so that's done, and we will need to attach the rudder elevator into the receiver. We can do that later. Next operation is going to be the landing gear. Landing gear slides in place. You've got some plastic pieces, a couple screws, and I'm noticing I probably did some things wrong here during my process because these need to go into here. So don't do what I did. I got to take these off. Okay. Here's what we got to do here. These little guys, there's a flat spot on each one of these. This goes in like so, and there's a grub screw hole right there and a couple supplied grub screws to keep that in place. This one's going to go on the other side, same way, and then a big spring connects all of this. So, let's get those installed. All right, and then we have these springs that go from there to there. And I'm wondering about those springs and how well they're going to stay on. Probably going to run a line from here and up to here. So if the springs pop off, I won't lose a spring. They'll stay retained. I'll retain those somehow. So we'll see how that works out. All right, so now we got pretty cool landing gear. Okay. Boy, that's very small carbon fiber spar. Goes in there. Try to get tail in place. And there we go. Need to work it a little bit, get it to slide in place, and those all match up. And then you've got a handful of these 10mm screws that need to get installed. All right, wings are in with these little thumb screws that I use instead of screwing these guys in with this, which, you know, you can easily do, but kind of like sometimes having this at the field versus pulling out some wrenches. Okay, so now we're gonna install the wing struts. Those go there, there, and they're marked left and right. And that fits in like so. And fit in pretty snugly. And then we've got a couple screws that we have to push through there, there, there. There isn't a throttle cut, so you got to be super careful when you're messing with this. So as I'm looking at the elevator, it is going in the correct direction. Rudder's going in the correct direction. Ailerons are going in the correct direction. And we have some flap, but there's no mix in the flap. So that's what you're going to get with the ready to fly version. We're going to fly it on it, and I'll tell you what I think. All right, so we're all set. Wings are attached, we're attached. I tore it all down because I'm heading to the field, but wing strut, piece comes out like so, works pretty well. We'll see how easy it is to set up. I'm using a bunch of those little thumb screws that I have instead of using hex drivers. So I got those for the wings and these smaller ones for the wing strut into the fuselage. We're going to give that a try. I also brought some screws in case it doesn't save any time. Carbon fiber spar is right inside the fuselage. We're going to use the ready to fly radio. I had to reduce all the rates, the throws on the ailerons and elevator mechanically by putting it in the lowest or the closest hole to the servo. And that got me a point where I'm feeling better about it. But you know, these sticks, you know, there's no expo, there's no rates. It's pretty simple configuration. We'll see how that flies when I do the Maiden, and I'll fly it a couple more times. Then I'll probably swap that out and use my Spektrum and a receiver I have laying around. So we will see how that goes. We'll be, let's go to the field. Let's talk about the field assembly, which really isn't a big deal. You have this fiberglass rod that slides through, and the wings slide onto that. Make sure that the wing strut is where it needs to go. These are the little braces in the middle of the struts, and they snap into those plastic hardpoints, and they're really snapping in. Then I use the thumb screws instead of the 3M, you know, the hex driver screws. Put all those in and install a battery, and we are good to go. Set up for your viewing pleasure. I want to say a couple things about the RTF system. Yes, everything's included. Battery, radio, the whole shebang. Charger even. However, due to the fact that there's no rates, expo, mixing, throttle cut, and things like that, I flew it a couple times and then decided to go and install a Lemon receiver and my Spektrum and continued flying it with that. Okay, we've got the FMS Super Cub 17, and with this ready to fly, doesn't have a throttle cut, so I am plugging in the battery out here. Okay, checking all the control surfaces. Up, down, left, right. There is no throttle cut. So we're gonna get this thing up for a Maiden on with the ready to fly system, which is pretty utilitarian. We'll get it up, try to get it trimmed the best we can. It'll be kind of a goat rodeo, I have a feeling. Holy cow, this thing has a lot of rudder authority. So having a little problem flying this thing with the RTF. All right.
Hopefully you don't need to trim it much. We got a fair amount of wind today coming out from the right. So flying right into it.
The wind was shifting either from the right or right in front of us, and we had a crosswind, which made things even more exciting at times. So anyway.
Checking on the control surfaces. I reduced the control surface mechanically quite a bit because it was just way too much throw. This is much better. So there's no expo, there's no rates in this system. So this is what you got. Also the flap, there's no flap mixing. So here we go. We're gonna get this over here. We're gonna make, boy, that rudder is very effective. Just gave just a hint of rudder. We're gonna put the switch for a little flap. There's a little flap. And there is no mixing, so you gotta push forward on the elevator, give a little down elevator with it. Let's bring it down here and do a little flyby. I didn't do a set a timer on my phone, so I have no idea how much time I've been flying here, but I'm doing just some basic stuff. Let's get her up a little higher. Rolls fine. That rudder is very effective. Let's try to bring her in for a landing here. Check on that battery, get a timer set. Now these are big bouncy wheels, and I'm sure he bounces all right. Thinking she's gonna be perfect for grass ops. Okay. Good looking plane. Keep wanting to hit the throttle cut. There is none, so I want to do the throttle cut like this. Alright, we'll take her in, take a little look at how much battery she's got left, and then figure that out. Didn't need a whole lot of trimming. And I'll step back a little bit so you can get video of it. So here I'm going to just try to get it to fly straight and level. I'm going to turn around, come towards us. Just trying to get it to fly nice and smooth. At about half throttle. Nice and easy. Pretty happy with it as far as the trimming right now.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
I'm going to do a little flap, takeoff flap, and it balloons up quite a bit. Give a little down elevator for the mix. Go full flap. So fly it by nice and slow. Sometimes it's how slow can we fly.
Flaps up.
Pretty happy with that. I'm going to do a slow flyby. So what that is gonna just come over the runway here.
Landing flaps.
See how slow I could fly right over the runway.
Time remaining 2 minutes. Flaps up.
Alright, now I'm gonna go up and do some tests. I'm gonna do what's called a stall test. And that is back off on throttle, full elevator, and it drops a wing and recovers quickly. That's easy. Let's try it again with a little flap.
Off flaps.
Take off flap, and that just kind of mushes, doesn't stall at all. And then we'll go full flap
Landing flaps.
stall test. Same thing, it just mushes.
Flaps up.
Alright, now high speed. I don't have a speedometer in it, but I'm going to come through with high speed. And we'll go up and over. I'm going to do that again. I'm going to go up and over. Plenty of power. And do an inverted test right here just to see. Yeah, just a little bit of forward pressure, so the center of gravity looks good. All right, I've done all my testing. Now we're gonna try to get some decent landing out of it. A little squirrely. Let's try to get a better landing on it. That was a little squirrely. I got a little bit of time on my battery. Gonna go up and do another one. We'll do a grass landing on this next one. See if we can do a decent grass landing without flipping her over. Let's see how she does it.
Take off flaps. Landing flaps.
Got some flaps. Oh! The grass is too high for that. All right. Hope you got that. Well, that rudder is strong. I mean, you could do let's do a knife edge loop. That rudder really is hard for me to knife edge this thing. Just couples and it's just sensitive.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
Power-wise, speed power-wise, I mean, go from here to straight up. That rudder is really, if you're newish pilot, definitely take it easy on the rudder.
All right, from an aerobatic power perspective, the plane really performs well. I was having trouble with knife edges. I'm sure if I tweaked it a little bit more, worked on that, I could do it. But all in all, good performance aerobatic plane. Now I wanted to really focus on landings on the runway, and man, did I have a hard time.
Oh, so close. All right, I backed off throttle too much. Let's try that again. Let's try that again. Okay. Try that again. Try to get a nice smooth landing all the way to the end. It's going to require a lot of luck. Oh, dang it. Boy, it is hard to get that perfect. Keep trying. Come on! Tail wheel skidder.
I ended up swapping out that tail wheel for a soft foam rubber, and it worked quite a bit better. It was still pretty tricky to land on the hard surface, but it helped. Eventually, just spent most of my time taking off and landing from grass. Short grass, tall grass. It will flip over and have some issues, but for the most part, grass hops are where this plane really, I think, shines.
I'm going to try to land in the grass in front of us.
Landing flaps.
Okay.
Motor off.
Welcome back. All right, let's summarize a couple things. First, the fit and finish and assembly. As you saw, assembly went together great. Only mods really were, these thumb screws that I use right in there and there, here. Thumb screws instead of the M3 screws. I did that for the wings as well as the struts. In the battery compartment, I had the shelf liner like I normally do. I was flying with an ungyroed Lemon RX 7-channel. Worked fine, no issues there. The landing gear took a little time to assemble, and I screwed up and had to undo some screws and redo some things. So pay attention to the manual. From that perspective, I mean, everything was good. The tires, I will say they are hard, and I'll talk about that in a minute on when we talk about trade-offs. The tires I found very, very hard and skittered around a lot. The tail wheel wouldn't grip hardly at all. I could skid all over the place. It didn't have any grip. I swapped it out for a foam tire and had better ground handling. But other than those kind of things, not an issue. The prop took a little balancing, but insignificant. All right, let's talk performance. So if you are looking for that slow, fun STOL plane and you have a grass field, you're going to love this plane. This plane will do all the fun stuff from a STOL perspective. Short takeoffs and landings, fly slow, half flap and just cruise around. The rudder is super effective. I mean crazy effective. So from those perspectives of flying around slow, aerobatics, great. You know, it'll do all the stuff that I like to do. You know, rolls, loops, cubinates, reverses, flat spins, inverted. I had to push that battery all the way forward because I just found that 2200 that weighed about, what was it, 240 grams. It was pretty neutral. And so I like it to be a little bit more nose heavy than that. But, you know, from a flight perspective, everything was very, very good. And it would do both the beginner stuff as well as the more advanced stuff. And it's just a big, slow STOL plane. So there's a lot of pluses there. Taking off and landing from my hard runway was something that I really struggled with. I couldn't get it to go like I want to as far as smooth and perfect. The wheels and the rudder, I was just having a hard time with it. On grass, no problem. But on the hard runway, it did give me some trouble. If I would maybe go with some smaller foam tires, I think that would solve the problem altogether. I think these tires are really cool, and you can fly off of tall grass. Great. But for me on the runway, I would have gone with something a little smaller, maybe the Dubro lights, you know, the inflatable tires that have a lot of, you know, impact squish to them. I think that would be a real good fit for something like this if you're flying from a runway. So that's what I think about that. Bottom line is this. This plane is for beginners, new pilots, as well as people who just want a really nice big STOL plane that's easy to fly, and yet it'll do all the aerobatics. So it's a broad range of people who are going to enjoy this plane. You know, if you have any questions about it, how I had it set up, or some of my opinions on it, please leave me a comment. If you like these kind of videos, hit that like button, because I do, you know, I like that. I like when you like my videos. Appreciate it. If you're interested in this plane, there's links in the description below to go to FMS site, and there's a discount code to get 10% off this plane, save you a couple bucks. So anyway, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. Have a great day.